Okay, we're gonna start the Commander Pro Teardown. So the first thing is this adapter, which is bullshit. I mean, excuse my language. Basically, Commander, they did a last minute change to go to 134 volt. But instead of changing the molds for the top cover, which have the 100 volt plugs in them, they just give you this one adapter, even though the wheel has 2 ports.
Classic Bago.
And it also gives you the potentiality of plugging the wrong charger into the wrong wheel.
Yeah, blowing your charger or the wheel.
Yeah. This is just the adapter that are the wrench to adjust the suspension. Put that aside.
Comes with that in the box.
Comes within the box, yeah. And then this trolley handle is really robust. It looks like a furniture hinge or whatever. There's only 2 issues with it. One is it's mounted to a plastic thing, so this thing flexes.
Flexes more than a Sherman.
More than the Sherman S one.
No kidding.
And this latch, you need to pull up to release it. So if you're down and you're out in the wild, you got your gloves on, you can't really pull it up very easily to release the handle. So you got to take off your gloves to release the handle.
That's annoying.
Yes.
Very. So it's kind of crazy that Extreme Bull decided to put the trolley handle in the middle, because now you have this bucketed area where water could pool when it's raining. As you get deeper, I'll explain to you what's below it, but just based on the initial collection plate of this top channel, it's not very great. The other thing is to remove the top panel, you do it to remove both the front and rear handlebars, which the front is okay because it comes off directly, but the back one has the integrated taillight. And with the integrated taillight, you just have this one wire that will poke out when we get to that point. So you gotta remove that.
This one-time use.
One-time use 3M adhesive that you have to remove every time you want to take apart your wheel or do a tire change. So you can see here, after I remove the 4 screws that hold up the taillight, if I take it off, oh, look at that dirt accumulation from one day of riding.
Oh, wow.
Oh, one of the cables already broke. Look at that.
Wow, all right.
I knew that was going to happen yesterday when I took it apart, but just because now it hangs like this,
Yeah.
it's just asking to get broken.
It's fully exposed.
Yeah, it's fully exposed. It's not even sealed. Screwdriver. Okay, so we just removed the 12 screws on the top cover, and you pull this off.
Oh, wow.
And so now you have this big bird's nest full of wiring. And a couple key things to note is one is because of the charge port design on the top cover, I wouldn't tilt that, the screws.
Oh, right, the screws.
What happens is they just use the old charge port from Bagode and they solder on these connectors to connect to the top board. Secondly, as you can see, yesterday I kind of crimped this a little bit because all the cables have to run in between these 2 thin channels, because the trolley handle sits in the middle here and you got the suspension that kind of coves in. So when you're putting on the top cover, it is a pain in the ass to either crimp one of these cables or you crimp this cable that leaks out here, or whatever you want to crimp. It's kind of terrible in that design. And then if you can see, there's speakers that they put in, which is, I think, probably an afterthought since they put it there, but then it's covered by the battery shell, so then all your sound is muffled. Now to remove the top cover, we got to remove all these cables. There you go. I think that's it. Good. There you go. So you have the control board at the back here and the charge board at the front. And you have the battery cable similar to the Sherman S that they come in from the side of the casings. The motor cable you can actually see right there is silicone through a hole. So on the Sherman S they use an O-ring gasket that you squeeze into it. Here they just siliconed it. Because the batteries come from both sides, they got to go to the charge board in the center here. You have these thick power cables that are being squeezed with all the other cables that you're trying to route on the sides of these channels and hope nothing gets crimped.
It's a mess.
It's a mess.
Also, water looks like it's not very watertight.
Oh, I should talk about that hole. So the trolley handle, remember that bucket I was talking about where you have the four screw holes and the 5th hole in the middle? So what happens is because they realize that this is a collection of water, they drilled a hole here for the water to drop into the inner mudguard, and they have a little bit of lip here so that they're hoping that the water won't splash out or go anywhere else. But everything based on the design seems like an afterthought.
Yeah, I'll say.
But then in terms of construction, like this is a cast metal, that's metal,
Yeah.
plastic. So I mean, similar to all the new wheels now, they all have metal motherboard holders. So this mudguard is actually not secured. We just kind of placed it there so you can see what it looks like. The problem is they gave us machine screws to put in these holes and screw into the mudguard. However, these holes are too small for the machine screws, so really you need the wood screw to kind of put the threading into here. So it's kind of just a plastic piece that you're probably going to end up losing. Oh no, single use.
Oh, I got lucky.
So I think it's 14 screws. 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12, 14, 16 screws. So these come with the new Extreme Bull pedals. They're nice because they have this outside edge of, what do you call these?
What?
The outside edge of
Spikes?
spikes? You call them spikes?
Yeah,
Sure.
spikes.
Sure, spikes. Which give you good grip when you're on the edge of the pedal. Although these pedals look like they're adjustable, if you look at the battery pack from the rear, is what I can show you later, there's only those screw holes, so they're not actually adjustable from what I understand.
Okay.
And there's no blinky LED on them.
And there's no LEDs on these.
Nothing there.
If you buy the aftermarket ones, they have LEDs built in. So once we remove all the 16 screws, I believe it is, you can just pull this off. And you can see these two holes here are quite large for where the power cables come through. And based on the limited riding that we did, there is some water that kind of dirt that kind of came up here.
Oh yeah.
So there is slight potential for possible water contamination.
It's 1 day of riding too.
Not like maybe 20 kilometers of riding.
20 kilometers of riding.
Yeah. So the thing where this kind of differs from the Sherman is they added these small bearings here to kind of, or rollers to kind of roll along the shell.
Oh, okay.
And you can see the marks here on the shell where it kind of rolls.
Yeah.
That's cool.
I'd have to see how they hold up in the long run, but yeah. If you look at the bearing, there's no extra bearing cover, so if you live in a wet environment, those bearings will probably end up going similar to the Sherman S,
Yeah, this one already doesn't seem very water resistant based on
the overall
that.
design. And that mudguard's kind of floppy.
This is like the floppiest thing I've seen.
Not much to it though, eh?
No, and then the other thing with the Sherman is, so the main motherboard holder mounts directly to the battery packs.
Yeah.
And the battery packs on the Sherman S mount directly to the side of this suspension rod. With Extreme Bull, they have this collar, so this is actually mounted on the poles and provide that cross beam. But the tensioning, these two tension screws that kind of clamp the suspension rod is from the battery pack outside, and it kind of clamps on.
Is the motor, what motor is it?
C38, same as a
C38.
Master.
Oh, so we've already seen a C38 motor.
Yeah, it's no different. I think it probably says Begode on it. Oh, it actually says Commander.
Okay, so
Yeah.
that's a Commander. We have never done a C38 teardown in a video, so we can
Okay.
just reuse this
Sure.
footage for.
Holy cow.
The silicone on there is strong. So, I'm just pulling off this thing so you can see that T-brace there. Wow, look at that dirt accumulation.
Yeah, there's an aluminum cross brace.
Oh, I see the buzzer.
That's nice and clean.
Yeah. So, yeah. So that's what the Sherman S doesn't have, which is that cross brace.
Right.
Now, whether it does something, I'm no physics engineer, so I have no clue. So on the bottom here, we have the S22 bolt. On the top, we have the really super duper long Commander Pro motor bolts.
Wow.
Oh, it's behind the cable. We'll fix it later.
Yeah, you flip the thing around.
Yeah. Oh no, shit, it's falling apart.
Oh, that's cute.
It's very cute.
It's probably the best design part of the whole thing, maybe.
CNC metal, yeah.
That's where all the money is.
Yeah. I think this type of suspension is the future
The
of
up-down type.
suspension EUCs.
Well, there was that EUC video that was posted by Wrongway, was it? With the RS high torque that was modified in Poland with the suspension. I think
Cool.
I think
seen that.
Arek at Grizzly has ridden it in Poland. And it's supposed to be much lighter and more robust than what we have from China right now. So, I don't know. Maybe someone can come up with some creative genius. Want to take the other side off?
Doesn't matter.
So yeah, this motor is the same as the Begode C38 Master motor or Master Pro motor. The Master Pro just has a larger rim on it. But this is a very standard motor that Begode's been using for a while.
Oh, nice.
Good catch.
Catch. That's kind of cool.
So this is the big beefy bearing that Begode uses, and you can compare it with the S22 bearing.
I'll bring one.
The S22 bearing and the Begode bearing actually have a very similar diameter on the inner diameter, but the Begode one's super fat, where the S22 is very slim. There you go. So this is the S22 bearing.
Oh wow, yeah, look at that difference. You can see just, oh, we don't have the V13, oh, we do have the V13 motor.
Yeah.
Just how much copper you have there compared to how much copper is on here.
You guys already showed off.
Impressive that the C38 motor can still pack that much.
Well, the thing is that's a 22 inch, so they have more room to go out. This is quite compact.
Yeah, and
so
behind you
they're
is
very similar
Abrams.
to the S22.
And then this is the Abrams. A lot more copper in this one.
They have more diameter to work with, so they can fill it a bit more.
That's true, yeah.
Yeah.
Cool. So as you can see, that's why we're not going to carry the Commander Pro. We feel like, as Albert mentioned, a lot of the stuff is a bit like an afterthought. Like they thought about it afterward. It just doesn't seem like a finished product, and it just doesn't pass the eevee's check of approval. We're going to be a lot more picky with new wheels going forward, and they have to be up to a certain standard. And unfortunately, it's not up to our standard. Any other thoughts you might have?
I think you said it quite well. I think when you go through the video and look at all the details of the video, if I had to pick one word to explain the concept of this whole wheel, and that word would be afterthought.
Yeah, it's like a prototype. They just kept throwing things together, and it works.
And especially your title picture where you have all the bird's nest of all the cables just running everywhere, it can be quite a mess. And if you compare that to how neat the V13 is, or the S22, or even, I don't know, the Master Pro's not that bad either. Yeah. But the Extreme Bull is just a whole different level.
Yeah. Well, stay tuned for our EX30 teardown, which will be being uploaded shortly after this one.
Cool. Just put it aside for now, I guess.
Yeah.
We'll deal with it later.
All right.
I'm not looking forward to putting it back together.
You keep it.